thank you for taking us back to some sweetness there at the end, Karen. There is truly magic everywhere, and a lot of it in this room. On that note, thank you, Karen. Thank you. You made it through. You made it through. Well done. Let it all out. We've one story left, you guys, and after that, you know you have a very, very important job, which is to vote for the best story. Not the story you necessarily came here to vote for, but the story that moved you to tears or laughter or a little tickle somewhere behind your belly button. I don't know. Whatever, right? Up to you. The QR codes are on the walls, or on the backs of your program. You guys have been an awesome audience. Thank you very much. Thank you. But we still have one left, and Kevin, where are you? Kevin!
I was 42, and the whole of my present life was a complete mystery to me. But the bar professors who were interviewing me so I could get into the Master's Arts of Teaching program didn't know that. Because in the telling of the weird, meandering life I had led to them, it made sense to them and to me. I felt like this interview is going great. It was very easy, they were friendly, they were about my age, one was younger. And just when I felt like I was a shoo-in to this program, they got a little quiet, they glanced at each other, and then they glanced down at the folder, and then I knew I was going to get the question that I was expecting. Because I knew in that folder were my college transcripts. And in that folder was spring, 1988. 5 classes, 5 zeros. An entire semester of goose eggs. Now, I wasn't a great student before that semester. I had done a minimal amount of work and gotten the minimal grades to pass. I was directionless, I had no ambition, I had no goals, and I was just kind of going through the motions. But a clutch of goose eggs for a whole semester needed some explanation. Would you like to talk a little bit about college? They asked. And I like the way they phrased it. I would have phrased it differently. If I was talking to a son or daughter of mine, I would have phrased it, "What the fuck is this?" But those were different times. That was 1988. Ronald Reagan, Soviet Union, Cold War, apartheid. It was the 3rd year of my tenure at State University of New York in Albany, and my 1st year living alone, on my own. Me and 6 or 7 guys rented a whole house on Elberon Street. It was a duplex, classic 1930s-40s style that you get in upstate New York. And Elberon Street was where the student ghetto met the ghetto. And I was the first to move in June, and the rest of them went back to Westchester or Long Island to spend one last summer at home, but that wasn't really an option for me. So I got to choose the room. And I picked a big room with wall of windows overlooking Elberon Street, not remembering that the winter in Albany lasted 7 months. But we got along, as well as 7 20-year-old boys living in a house on their own could get along. We all got bullshit jobs, making minimum wage. I had a 1975 4-speed Audi Fox that didn't really go in reverse because the linkage rod was a little busted, and it had a hole in the driver's side seat that I put a pizza pan under to keep the carpet from smoldering and bursting into flames again. And we were limping along as best you could. I think there was a mop. I remember seeing a broom. And we were making it, just limped along. The first semester, we were figuring it out. We somehow ate. We somehow managed clean clothes every couple of months. And then we got 2 visitors, 2 guests. Winter moved in October and stayed until mid to late April. And hash oil, which came in a vial and in some ways is still with me. Nobody knows where it came from or how it got there or who bought it or why it was there, but there was this little vial that appeared, and we decided that we needed to smoke it. And to smoke it, you needed a paper clip or a safety pin, some aluminum foil, a hanger, a coat hanger, metal coat hanger, and a big pen. So you would take the safety pin and you'd heat it with a lighter and you'd put it in the little vial and you'd swirl it around until you got a gob of this brown goo with the consistency of tar, or like you'd scrape from the inside of a pipe. And then you'd sort of light it and it would drop onto the aluminum foil, which you'd stretched over the hanger and balance it between your knees. You took the ink cartridge out of the big pen. This was key. You gotta take the ink cartridge out of the big pen. And then while the foil's balancing on your knees, you light it from underneath and the little gob starts bouncing and getting excited and smoking and rolling it around, and you sort of follow this smoking ball around and you sucked in all the smoke, and then nothing mattered. And even if it did, you couldn't do anything about it. And we called it just our vial of fuck it. And there was no problem, obligation, or responsibility that couldn't be taken care of with a little glob of fuck it. If the black mold in the bathroom was bothering you, fuck it. If there wasn't a single clean dish, fuck it. Problem solved. If the water in your glass on your nightstand froze solid overnight, put on a hat and sleep with a hat and fuck it. Your car got booted. 1975 4-speed Audi Fox got booted. Fuck it. Then if the booted car got towed a week later, fuck it. Morning, fuck it. Classes, fuck it. Fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it, fuck it. May, 2 things broke. Winter and me. I got a letter with my grades for that semester. And there were all those zeros. And then there was a letter accompanying my grades, and it informed me that I was no longer matriculated at the State University in New York at Albany. I'd been kicked out. And I don't know why it surprised me. But when you shrink your life into just a tiny little bubble, all you could see is the film. And that's what I had done. And that letter popped that bubble. And all of a sudden I could see clearly where this road I was on was leading to me. That I was 1 or 2 fuck-its from a life of misery. I was 1 or 2 fuck-its from a minimal life on minimum wage and substandard housing. Maybe 1 or 2 fuck-its even from living in the street and being homeless. So I knew what I had to do. I grabbed that big pen, and that was black from tar, and I found the ink cartridge, and I put the ink cartridge back in. And I wrote. And I wrote and I wrote and I wrote all day. I wrote a letter. I wrote a letter to the State University of New York at Albany. It was the best letter I had ever written in my life, and probably the most important, pleading with them to let me back in. I typed it up, I mailed it off, and it worked. They let me back in. I was on probation. I moved out of Elberon to a different apartment, different situation. The hash oil did not follow. And I decided I gotta try something different. And it's like, all right, fuck it. I'll just go to class and do the reading. And lo and behold, going to class and doing the reading, you could pass your class, you could get on the dean's list. Back in 1988, in SUNY Albany, just by going to class and doing the reading, and you could graduate from college just by going to class and doing the readings. I had never figured that out. Of course, I wasn't going to tell that to those Bard professors who were interviewing me. I wasn't going to tell them about the despair or the trauma or the depression. I wasn't going to tell them how to fold aluminum foil over a wire coat hanger and chase a little ball of smoking fuck it around with a Bic pen. But I did tell them, I said, I did not have the maturity at that time to understand the responsibilities of college and life. And it took me a while to figure out that just doing the reading and showing up was like 90%. And that seemed to work. A year later, I got my master's in art of teaching, and I've been working with young people ever since. And the kids that I really like to work with, and the kids that I work with a lot, are those kids who are one or two fuck-its away from a life of despair. And I don't ask them about their depression or their horror of their despair or whatever trauma there is. I know it's there. They know it's there. I just show up, and together we do the reading.